Good morning, everybody. This is SinksCom, and I'm coming back at you with How COVID Cancels Communication, Episode 5. And today we're going to be talking about eating in particular. Who doesn't love eating? Eating's amazing. It's something that we all do to survive, and it comes in a lot of varieties and different tastes. But unfortunately, COVID has impacted how we eat, when we eat, where we eat, and who we eat it with. Now, I love food just as much as the next guy, but I put safety over everything else. And around a pandemic, if I have to eat at home, I have to eat at home. Whenever COVID-19 first started coming along in March, April, and into the later months of May, it was very confusing on where we were allowed to eat, honestly. Pretty much every single place that was considered dine-in was closed. You had grocery stores that were open because they were considered essential businesses, but to which point, we were allowed to go in there, how many occupants there were, um, did they have certain systems and policies in place? Due to it being a private business, were they enforcing you to wear a mask or not? And it was something that was a little jumbling and confusing at first. And me personally, working somewhere that does have a grocery section, whenever COVID-19 first came around, we did enforce masks, and that hurt a lot of people. There was a lot of people that we had to say no to. There was a lot of people who, a lot of elderly people who would come through a drive-through via the fast food side, and they would tell us, hey, like, is there any way that you can deliver our groceries to the window? And we're like, we're sorry, it's against our policy. We actually have no way that we can actually do that. And so they would have to do, curbside. We'd have to go out there, grab a list from them, or just tell us what they want, and then we would go to the grocery section, grab it, do the transaction, give their food and card back to them, or whatever form of payment they used. And that was very interesting because, you saw it impacted our business, for good and worse. The market area did not get a lot of traction. The drive-through did, back in that point, because there was no dining in. So it was, if you wanted food, you'd have to come into the drive-through and get it that way. Or in terms of market, you had to make sure that you came in and wore a mask, because if you didn't, then you couldn't have one, and a lot of people didn't have a mask at that time. So at one point, we were actually considering shutting down the drive-through because we didn't know if that was considered essential, and keeping the market open, because that is essential, because those are groceries that are in there. Very interesting, but it impacted a lot of people. A couple of different percentages that come along with this comes from an article from Food Manufacturing, and it gives a little bit of statistics here. So we have 72% of consumers have lessened the frequency of their grocery shopping due to COVID-19. Assuming comparable costs, consumers overwhelmingly prefer shopping online with home delivery as their first choice, and drive-by or curbside pickup as their second choice. And 56% of consumers feel anxious about forgetting to pick up or not being able to find specific foods when shopping in store. A lack of ability to swing by a store for a missing ingredient can change a mealtime game plan, which is absolutely true. And looking at these statistics right here, I can definitely hold true to that in my personal experience, and when going out for myself and going shopping and looking for ingredients and food to put dinner on the table. Because if COVID-19 is, kicking, and we can't go anywhere or any fast food place whatsoever at all, or eat out at a restaurant because everybody's closed, then we have to go out and get groceries. And then that makes it even more difficult, because some store policies are different than others. Some have easier accessibility with curbside. Honestly, for us, we never actually experienced or experimented with curbside pickup. So we just kind of put on our masks and went in. But that was still scary enough at that time, because we didn't know, how close we could be to one another, and the 6-foot distancing, and if everybody was wearing the mask correctly. It was just an interesting time. So, but now things are a little better, and fortunately we can go out to the grocery with a little less anxiety and still grab what we need. Well, that was eating, and I hope that everybody here was able to retrieve the groceries that they needed during this time. This is Sinks Com, and I'll be signing off, and I hope that you guys are staying safe through COVID. Thank you.